Thank you for joining us on the EduTalk Show. The EduTalk Show, as always, is brought to you by the Ministry of Education in partnership with the Teacher Education Journal. Well, in this episode, we're throwing a spotlight on the Ghana Education Service. I'm sure you've heard about GES, but this time round, we're spending time with the Director General, Dr. Eric Nkansah, as we discuss reforms taking place within the education sector when it comes to the pre-tertiary space. So you want to be our guest in this episode as we sit with Dr. Eric Nkansah. But that will be after this break. Please stay. And you're welcome back from that break. You're still with us on the EduTalk Show, brought to you proudly by the Ministry of Education in partnership with the Teacher Education Journal. As I indicated earlier, we're throwing a spotlight on the Ghana Education Service. And that's why we're spending some time with the Director General of the service, Dr. Eric Nkansah, who's my guest for today. Dr. Eric Nkansah, welcome to the EduTalk Show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be with you and to spend some time with you knowing much more about the Ghana Education Service. So let's get to it. Very often we hear about the Ghana Education Service, but what would you say is the role of the GES, and how will you link that, for instance, to the implementation of the reforms taking place in our pre-tertiary space?
Right, thank you. At GES, we are responsible for the implementation of approved national pre-tertiary education policies and all programs put together by the Ministry of Education, and to ensure that all Ghanaian children of school-going age, irrespective of tribe, gender, disability, religious, and political affiliations, are provided with inclusive and equitable quality formal education. So clearly, it tells you that our job here, it is without discrimination to any Ghanaian child of school-going age. We should ensure that they have formal education. And if you ask about the reforms that are taking place within the education space, clearly you know that a number of things have happened in the past few years, right from basic to tertiary level. But for the purposes of this program, I would want to stay within the pre-tertiary space.
And it will be a very good conversation to have, because obviously you taking over the GES, there are some changes that have taken place. Exactly. There are some changes that are obviously going on now. So let's delve deeper into that. Let's talk about some of the key reforms taking place and how that is also contributing to a significant learner's output. What would you say is the significance of some of these reforms taking place?
Well, quite a number. If you look at the education strategic plan that we have as ministry and the service, you will notice that one of the key things that we are hinging every reform on is to ensuring that we are improving the learning outcomes, right? We are ensuring equity and also enhancing accountability within the system. So right from the basic up to the tertiary, everything or every reform that has taken place is actually feeding into these three pillars. Of course, one of the things that, one of the reform that I believe every Ghanaian sees and knows is the FESHS. Everybody knows about the FESHS.
Yes.
To the extent that if you ask a toddler, a small boy and a girl anywhere in any school, they will tell you that there's free education going on. So you cannot talk about reforms in the pre-tertiary education space and sidestep the FESHS policy, which originally is expected to remove all financial and physical barriers to senior secondary school education in Ghana. So every child, wherever you are born, wherever you are, you can still have access to secondary education. In that process, you can see we have also seen massive infrastructure across all the existing schools. We are even blessed with some new schools, all in a bid to enhancing or expanding the capacity to absorb more students, to ensuring that every Ghanaian child has received the basic and secondary education. Beyond that, the purpose for which the FESHS was actually born was to expand the access for Ghanaian children. Many a times they say that when you increase access, and clearly we had the access, because as of the time of inception, we actually got 800, at the time we had about 800,000 students in our secondary schools. Now we are counting about 1.3 million. So in terms of numbers, we've seen a dramatic increase in the numbers. And beyond that, what is intriguing is the fact that even though these numbers have gone up, we are also seeing the quality going up. Our quality indicators are actually pointing to the right directions. And we're excited about that. And we'll continue to work more to ensuring that our quality numbers continue to go up. The other thing that excites us even here at GES has to do with the gender parity index. Gender parity index has also seen tremendous improvement. We are almost parity. 0.99 is quite encouraging, telling us that when you go to our second cycle institutions, it's 1:1.
Right.
So you can see that all these reforms are very well calculated to ensuring that, apart from the fact that we're expanding access, we are also improving the quality. We are also looking at relevance of the programs that we are running at the second cycle institutions. And that is why you would see the Honorable Minister is trumpeting what we call the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We know that world over now, technology is the order of the day. We talk about robotics, you talk about artificial intelligence, the 3D, printing, nanotechnology.
21st century learning.
21st century learning. That is where the world is going. If we are actually going to see any massive development as a country, then you need to be training your young population in the area of STEM.
Doc, I just want to stay on this issue about STEM and its relevance in our secondary education system. You were speaking to that earlier, but can you give us some examples of how you're giving effect to this vision that the Ministry of Education has?
Right, thank you. I think when it comes to the area of STEM, as earlier alluded to, so much work has been done, so much work. Even before the academic year began, we've been handed about 5 new STEM schools, which we have led the operationalization together with the ministry. We have ensured that the schools are on stream. If you look at the STEM senior high schools, like in Abumusu, I'm sure you have the popular Abumusu is all over the place. Right. Abumusu STEM, Bosomchin Girls, Bosomchin STEM, there's one at Awaso, and there's one also at Pesempe, and then Kwasi. All these schools have been operationalized, and we are ensuring that whatever tools that they need, whatever resources that they need, teachers have been trained, and they are actually taking our case through the STEM education proper. Beyond that, there also supposed to be 20 STEAM centers which are supposed to be built across the country. Early on last year, or latter part of last year, the Honorable Minister for Education handed over one to us, which has been taken over by a science and STEM unit at Accra High STEAM Center. You should have been there to see the day of handing over. Very, very interesting thing. Kids doing robotics, 3D printing going on there, nanotechnology, AI, quite a number of things taking place in that particular center. We have fully operationalized the center. We have staffed the place with a science and STEM education unit. The place is fully operational, not only open to the Accra High School, but is open to schools in the neighborhood. So you have basic school students who go there to learn, and then also the high school itself also makes use of the center. We have retooled a number of existing science resource centers across secondary schools in our country, especially the schools that are actually science-oriented. We've built, the Honorable Minister, through the ministry, has built quite a number of additional resource centers for us, which we believe is augmenting the efforts of GES. They have actually facilitated the work for us. And then a number of science teachers have also been trained in the area of STEM to be able to carry out this. There are STEM coordinators who have been appointed across the country, lending support to the secondary schools that are delivering STEM education. A number of things. STEM innovation. We partnered with the FESHS Secretariat last year and came up with STEM innovation, which was more like exhibition, more like a quiz, a competition among school children in the area of innovation, and it was quite beautiful. All of these put together are some of the things that we're doing to ensuring that the STEM education is actually having a proper footing in our secondary schools.
And what must happen also is that we must equally see curriculum shifting to meet that target as well. And that's why I'm pleased to hear about the efforts by NACA, or the Council for Curriculum and Assessment, indicating to us that some reforms may take place when it comes to secondary education curriculum.
Yes.
Doc, what's the role of the GES in this effort by NACA to try as much as possible to reform curriculum to reflect what's the trend in this 21st century?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bless. I think it's a very important question to ask. As you are aware, that there is an effort ongoing. The process has begun, and we are actually at the tail end of getting a brand new curriculum for the secondary education that you know of. GES has been front and center in all that NACA is doing. Yes, NACA is the agency pushing this, but we have been at the middle of it. And if I say we, I'm referring to GES. There are three different layers: the interagency working group, the curriculum writing guide team, and then the curriculum writing team. All those three layers, you would see GES playing leading roles in there. The interagency group that were actually put together by NACA did so with GES in the middle of it. Quite a number of the persons within the team were experts or technical officers from GES. Then, if you come to even writing the curriculum guide,
yes,
we had officers, teachers from our second cycle institutions, officers from the GES, and then we also got some from the colleges of education and the universities coming together to write a guide. Writing the curriculum itself, the curriculum writing team also, we are deeply involved in it because a number of our teachers are involved in writing the curriculum. We are also told that as we speak, we got some feedback from students, and we open up our schools. About 3 schools in the Volta region were open up for the team to engage with the students to get their feedback on the old curriculum, get their perspective also on the old curriculum, as opposed to what we are actually bringing to them. All of that, you would say that GES had actually been playing leading role. And beyond that, the piloting itself of the curriculum was done by GES schools. We did a piloting in our schools, and then we ensured that our teachers taught with this new curriculum, and then got feedback from the students and feedback from even the writers.
But since you're talking about the teachers,
right,
we need to focus on them as well.
Right.
Some of them would also have to upgrade their skills.
Right.
There's also the issue about resourcing them so that they are able to perform their duties. Are you considering all of this in the efforts to change the education curriculum?
Obviously, and that actually takes me back to your earlier question that had to do with the reforms that have been taking place. Quite a number of them have happened. If you look at the teachers' front, teacher professionalism is something that is being championed by the National Teaching Council. I believe you know about the National Teaching Council. Right. Their registrar, Dr. Christian Adepuku, is spearheading teacher professionalism, ensuring that every teacher who sits or teaches in our classes is a professional. So I'm sure you have heard about the teacher licensure, and not only the licensure, we also have the professional development, which is a continuous process Every teacher is supposed to go through it. And even to get your license renewed, you are supposed to garner some points, CPD point. So we are professionalizing the teaching phase, and we are ensuring that at any point in time, teachers are learning and ensuring that they stay current.
Okay then, so now we know about the reforms taking place
Right.
targeted at the student or the
Right.
learner. We know about the teacher. We'll talk about the management of the schools itself,
Right.
because there's something also happening there.
Right.
But we'll do all of that after this short break. You're still on the Edu Talk Show, brought to you by the Ministry of Education in partnership with the Teacher Education Journal. When we return, I'll ask Doctor about the management of the school and these schools that we have all around, and some of the reforms taking place at the managerial level. We'll talk about that after this break. Please stay. And thank you for staying with us here on the Edu Talk Show, brought to you by the Ministry of Education in partnership with the Teacher Education Journal. Well, we're throwing that spotlight on the Ghana Education Service, and it's been an insightful conversation so far with Dr. Eric Nkansah, who is the Director General of the service. But there are other interventions taking place, Doc, here at the GES, which we need to talk about.
Yeah.
And my focus now is about the management of our public schools. You've been monitoring the exercise over the years, and now you're scaling it up, providing some level of training for our teachers, and we also understand there'll be some board summits. So let's talk about them. First of all, starting with the board summit. What's it all about, and what's the idea governing that?
Right, thank you so much, Bless. You would notice that at the time I was talking about the mandate of GES, I also emphasized that we are at the service being driven by the Education Strategic Plan, which is also hinged on three main pillars: improving our learning outcomes, ensuring that we enhance accountability,
Right.
and again promote equity in our education system. At GES, we have realized that leadership is as important as a classroom teaching. Indeed, research has shown leadership is actually second only to classroom teaching. And so we have been putting in place a number of interventions to ensuring that we strengthen the leadership of our schools. Right from the school level, at basic level, you notice we have something we call the school management committees, the SMCs, which are actually expected to help as a governing boards of our basic schools. At our secondary schools, we have the governing boards put together to govern and direct, offer some form of direction to the headship and management also. So the board summit and board and management summit has actually been put in place to ensuring that we equip them, we enhance their capacity to be able to deliver on that job, to hold us accountable, to hold the schools accountable, to ensuring they deliver the learning outcomes for us. So it's something that has been done across the country, where the boards of secondary schools, together with the management, are giving some form of training to sharpen their management and governance skills. For example, to help them even write strategic plans that wins. And then again, for the board to also be able to have the right set of skills to ensuring that they hold management accountable. A number of things have been introduced in this teacher professionalism. We're ensuring that our teachers remain professional, go by the standards set by the National Teaching Council. We have national teacher standards that every teacher is supposed to conform to. Our management is supposed to ensure that our teachers are actually complying with these standards, and the boards are also supposed to ensure that management actually are performing these functions and duties. So it's a whole myriad of activities which we believe will strengthen our accountability regime, which we believe will strengthen and also improve our learning outcomes.
So, Doc, let's talk about the professional learning community sessions. What steps are you taking as the GES to monitor and ensure that you sustain the PLC?
Right, thank you. I think the PLC is something that has come to stay. It's something that is giving a new life of breath to the teaching community. And so at GES, we have both on-site and then off-site monitoring approaches, ensuring that the schools at the basic level from time to time are scheduled by their schools together with the management of the school, ensuring, and then the lead, because every school has a lead for the PLC, ensuring that it is done as has been scheduled. The off-site monitoring, we have a PLC app which the leads are supposed to use. This application is very useful because it has some useful guides, some useful materials which will help them in preparation and during the professional learning community meetings. At the same time, once they are done, they log it so we can remotely check and monitor to see whether or not schools are actually undertaking the meetings. Besides, our CISOs, our School Improvement Support Officers, have also been going around to do the on-site monitoring, visiting the schools to ensuring that the schools are performing this sacred duty. They are being supported strongly by the district directors, and we will continue to encourage our CISOs and to continue with this kind of supervision and monitoring. We believe strongly that in itself is exciting because teachers are learning from each other, they are sharing experiences and all. So over time, teachers may not even need to be supervised or monitored for them to do because they know that that particular activity is an activity that is coming to enrich their knowledge and understanding in their profession. Beyond that, we are actually not staying at the basic level. We are scaling it to the second cycle institutions.
You have plans for the
yes,
second cycle?
We as we speak, have even completed a pilot phase, and very soon we are rolling it out across the country. So it is not something that is limited only to the basic school level. We are trying to have this because it's something good. We're trying to have it across all the senior high schools also.
All right, so Doc, let's talk about some more interventions. We're hearing, for instance, about the Communities of Excellence program. Can you briefly explain this to us?
Absolutely. Communities of Excellence is for me, one of the most exciting developments in education space in recent times. Currently, as we speak, we have TTEL, which is helping us. In fact, they have even completed a pilot project on these Communities of Excellence in 3 main communities. In communities districts actually, number of communities within 3 districts, the Ekapem South, Bosofmefrehon, and Lambusi districts. They have done this since March 2022, and the results coming out from these communities are amazing. So it presupposes that it is a very good thing which we need support of everyone because we are transforming a community at a time. Now we are rolling it out. We are doing more than 1,000 communities as we speak now with the support of other development partners. So yes, Communities of Excellence, it has come to stay. GES is supporting it big. We are actually implementing this, and we are ensuring that we would even get more support from other stakeholders to ensuring that across the country we have every community being transformed in that manner.
And I'm afraid we've run out of time. The conversation would have gone on and on and on, but of course, we've all heard it. You now know about the reforms taking place at the Ghana Education Service, their mandate, and how that is contributing to an improved education sector. That's all we have for you on the Edu Talk Show, brought to you proudly by the Ministry of Education in partnership with the Teacher Education Journal. We'll see you in our next episode. Until then, it's bye-bye from us here. Thanks for watching.